Welcome, everyone, to Meetings and Miles. I'm Pamela, and this is my co host, Mark. Mark, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Pamela. I spent my weekend out of town at my kids' ringette tournament. A lot of fun, but it does show you how, after many years of business travel, staying usually in nice hotels, you become a bit of a hotel snob. So, like 20 years ago, I wouldn't have cared. I would have said, you know what, put me out at the Super 8 on the highway. It doesn't really matter. But 20 plus years of staying in nice hotels, you get used to it, Pamela. It's the amenities, all the nice things they have to offer. So it's
I feel you.
a bit of a change for me. But that's it's all good.
hmm
And it dovetails in with what we are talking about today. But before we get into that, how have you been?
Hey, yeah, thanks. I've been really great, actually. I had a lovely weekend as well, pretty chill. But I mean, I really need to do a shout out to Friday, going to my first creative mornings, actually with you. And it was fantastic. Sometimes you feel that networking events can be awkward or, you're not sure what you're going to get out of this, but this was a really great one. The keynote was fantastic. There was a musician that was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. And then just even those little breakout moments so that you could meet the people around you it really was conducive to meeting some new people that I think that, has some connections going forward and whatnot. So yeah, it was really great. It was creative mornings and they're not just in Winnipeg, but all cities all over the place. So it
Yeah, I
was great.
really enjoyed it as well. I'd never really heard of them until recently, and it was a really well organized, well crafted event. So I'm looking forward to going to their future events.
Yeah, me too.
So, Pamela, why don't you introduce today's discussion topic?
All right. Yes, we're going to have a lovely discussion looking at hotels, chains versus boutique hotels. And I'm taking the boutique hotel side of the advantages that are available to business travelers. And as a little bit of a twist, I'm also going to throw in short term rentals into the mix with Airbnbs and Verbo.
Okay. And I'm taking the side of the big chain hotels, which are the ultimate for business travel. That's exactly where you want to be.
We'll see. Let me know what's so great about the hotel chains. I mean, they're okay. Definitely a big business travel part of the whole experience, but tell me what you think.
So, for business travel, I prefer big hotel chains for a lot of different reasons. Boutiques are beautiful, they're wonderful, they've got all kinds of nice event things happening, but ultimately you're spending so little time in your hotel that when you're traveling on business that you don't get the most out of the boutiques. And when you're traveling for business, number one is you get reliability and consistency, right? You have that standardized experience, consistent levels of service, of amenities. You know the gym's going to be fine. You know they've got exactly what you need. And so you've got that peace of mind because I know that a Marriott in New York, Paris, Tokyo are all going to be of the same standard. Number two is I like the loyalty programs. I am a points junkie. I like the rewards and the perks. And so you can use these chain rewards. Sometimes you can get room upgrades, you can get additional airline points, you can get the tier status benefits. So the loyalty programs are great. So that way, then when I'm traveling for personal reasons, I can use those points and bring my family with me, and it's not going to cost me anything. There's also the work friendly spaces that you get. Typically it's you've got business centers and meeting rooms and good wi-fi, whatever you might need. So 24/7 around the clock service to meet your schedule. I don't want to be in some boutique hotel having to get on a Zoom call late at night with the CEO only to find that the Wi-Fi isn't working properly. And I have seen that firsthand where I've been in a nice, quaint little hotel. They offered Wi-Fi, but they had one router right at the front. And if you weren't staying close to the front desk, the Wi-Fi was spotty at best. I can't even say it.
Okay. But when was this? When was this particular boutique experience?
It was a few years ago. Granted,
Uh-huh.
it wasn't completely a new experience, but it's still. I mean, they might be getting better with the
And
Wi-Fi,
my
but I know for
my other
sure.
question,
Please,
okay, no, you finish.
no,
I was
no,
gonna
go
say my
ahead.
other question was when was the last time you actually used a business center in a hotel?
Oh, I've used them quite often for making copies or having to. That's it, really. Just making copies of things that usually presentation materials that I didn't want to drag with me. So it does get used, and I know other business travelers, they like to use these things as well. That's why they have them. You've also got the safety and security aspect, right? They have big chains have very standardized safety and security protocols, and especially when you're in unfamiliar destinations, you've got cost predictability, Pamela. You can probably get discount rates easier at the big change. There's also no hidden fees. You know that there's other partnerships with uh, often rental car companies, airlines. You've got definitely on-site dining and convenience services. You've got accessibility. You know that these larger chains are meeting government standards for accessibility needs. I remember one time I was traveling with I had a broken ankle and I was in
Oh.
Johannesburg. I had to stay one night in the hotel, and so I got there with my crutches and showed up to the front desk, and the guy asked me if I would I like to stay in the quadriplegic room. I'm like,
Oh,
well, yes, I would. I don't know
yeah.
if we'd necessarily call it the quadriplegic room where I live, but
Right.
yes, I would. Thank you very much. And if you don't believe me, Pamela, there's research that backs up my claim. So a 2024 Deloitte travel survey said 73% of business travels prefer staying at big hotel chains.
Hmm.
And the Global Business Travel Association reported that 82% of corporate travel managers recommend big hotel chains over boutique options for their convenience and security. So
Yeah,
there you go.
that's
That's why I'm like in the big corporate chains. And when you travel a lot, you don't have time to enjoy all the quaintness of a boutique hotel, right? You're getting in late. It's essentially just a bed and a breakfast, and away you go. So save it for your vacation. But for business travel, let's just be as efficient as possible.
ah, Mark. I mean, those are some good points, but I don't know why you hate comfort so much. All right. So, I mean that sounds like that is compelling data. I won't lie. But really, so my stance is boutique hotels, and I'm even including some short-term rentals in there, like Airbnbs and Verbos. They offer business travelers a more comfortable, flexible, and productive experience, in my opinion. So, to explain, boutique hotels, what we're talking about, are small, they're design focused, they're independently operated hotels, and they often offer a very personalized, sometimes stylish, locally immersive experience. And while hotel chains, they do have the predictability and loyalty programs, boutique hotels can have more space and better amenities than the business center and hotel. They're especially great if you have a longer business travel and you are in the same place for a longer period of time. They do also help you with some unique experiences if you're on pro Pamela team leisure. And they
Not the
can
same.
often too have like there is greater location flexibility, particularly if you're not staying downtown, because not all business travel is downtown. And my own stats as well, it is a $25 billion market and it's looking to triple in the States alone, looking towards 2028. And
But
just to, oh, go ahead.
if I can interject here, Pamela, but that's the whole thing is I want to stay as close to where I'm conducting business as possible, whether it be downtown or near the airport or wherever. And often these boutique hotels are in some picturesque countryside, beautiful, not central location. So it's just inconvenient to take or to stay at a boutique hotel.
And I counter that because I often, as you said, like I think the hotel chains are downtown and near the airports, but not all businesses in those areas. They could be out in manufacturing sites, innovation hubs, or like all over the place. And sometimes those hotel chains aren't there, whereas there's a lot of boutique hotel options that are much more closer and flexible for those types of travels. And on
Are you
top of
trying to tell
that,
me there are boutique hotels in the industrial parks?
oh, I'm saying that they're like literally everywhere. Like the hotel
Mm.
chains are very much want to be where the concentration of the people and the travel are, whereas boutique hotels are much more flexible to be all over the map. And looking at the productivity in the workspaces, like sure, a hotel has the business centers, but often, and they do, I will say, they have better Wi-Fi. Boutique hotels, absolutely, they have a little bit more of an elevated opportunity for business travelers. They have strong Wi-Fi. I count you on that, and I think I called you out on that was a long time ago. And often they have quieter environments to get work done. And often true when you're on a business trip, you might be having tons of meetings or running to events or whatnot. But when you do have downtime, you're in your hotel, it just has that weird desk or whatever. But when you're in a boutique hotel, it's often much more comfortable and much more lovely experience to get work done and have those midnight Zoom calls with CEOs.
So
And and two, go ahead.
no, the boutique hotels may have a beautiful view of mountains and palm trees, but the the big chains are set up specifically for the business traveler. They usually have a decent desk with plenty of room to plug in all your gear and computers and chargers and all that good stuff. So they
Hmm.
are just set up for it.
Yeah, boutique hotels actually have a lot of those as well. And on, when you do have extended travels, which I know you have as well, Mark, and if you do need like a laundry service situation, boutique hotels or even the short-term rentals like Airbnbs and Verbos will have laundry that is available for you to be able to reset your luggage, which is, I mean, hotels, you can do an expensive dry cleaning bill, but it's way less convenient.
I've never had a problem getting laundry done in a big chain hotel. And you talk about some longer stays. If you look Marriott, for example, they've got amenities like they've got Marriott executive apartments that are designed specifically for longer stays with amenities like full kitchens and laundry facilities if you need.
Mhm. Another thing that boutique hotels also help with is if you're looking at corporate retreats or industry events or things of that nature as well. Because just as one example, there's this beautiful inn on Fogo Island that has become a real highlight. It's part of Newfoundland and Labrador. And it's an excellent place for people to go on a retreat. And in these retreats, it's a reward. It is an opportunity for wellness. It's also an opportunity for productivity and inspiration for the team. So these are just some additional uh, options or features that are available with these boutique hotels that are off the beaten path, as well as the short-term rentals offering.
And Pamela, I won't argue that. I do think that for if you're doing a retreat or something where you're going to be at a hotel for several days, a boutique hotel might be the better option for that because you want to create that experience. But for everyday garden variety business travel, it's not happening.
Yeah, but when you think about when you're business travel and you're getting in at all hours of the night, if you arrive at a hotel, there'll be the restaurants closed. That's it, right? Whereas in a lot of these boutique hotel situations, they'll actually have these personalized offerings and understanding like, oh, you're arriving late. Will you need a snack or a meal available? Or even from the early checkouts. It's just so much more accommodating. And maybe there isn't the standard loyalty programs, but they often throw in their own perks. Like there can be free upgrades, there can be wine nights, and as well, Airbnbs and Verbos also allow some cost effective stays as well.
See, I'm all about speed and efficiency. So I just want to get there and get to my room as quickly as possible. That's why I love the offerings of the chains that have the apps where you can do the mobile check in while you're in the taxi on the way there, even the mobile key. So you can walk into the hotel, you know what your room is, and you can go straight there. You're scheduled for 2 nights, you stay 2 nights, and you just walk away. You don't need to check out, you don't need to do anything. The bill comes in your email, and away you go. And I know I'm not alone in this wanting that level of efficiency. I was speaking to an executive at Enterprise Rent a Car one time, and he was telling me that when they first got to into airports, it was a
Mhm.
really eye-opening experience for them because Enterprise, they pride themselves on customer service. They do everything for customer service. And so they got to the airport, they were offering their customers water before they got in their car. Customers hated that because they just wanted to get to their car as quickly as possible, and anything that stood in their way was an inconvenience. So it's really all about the efficiency.
I think I wonder if the generation of traveler comes into to play as well, because between Gen Z, millennial, I'm not sure the age category, the person you were speaking with. But honestly, a lot of these options that I'm speaking of, they offer self check-in. There's keyless entry, really fast host communication. Like it can be just as convenient as fast and comfortable at the same time. And it is interesting too, the lovely hotel chains are actually starting to create and acquire their own boutique hotels. So they seem to also see that there is something to that as well. Like Hyatt Hotels acquired a London based boutique hotel brand, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Hilton has boutique brands, Marriott, Accord. So it's interesting that the hotel chains are finding some benefit and being in the boutique hotel game.
Well, I think you're making my point for me. It's showing that the wide range of options available at the big chain hotels. Hilton has everything from the Garden Inn to the Waldorf Astoria. Marriott has the Courtyard by Marriott, and they also have the Marriott Executive Apartments. IHG hotels, they've got everything from Holiday Inn Express to the Candlewood Suites for long extended stays. So you've got it all with the big hotel chains, everything from boutique to consistent.
Which is like hilarious because I think you're proving my point as to why the business travelers would elect to have business travel and why the chains are like wanting to get boutique hotel experiences into their whole ecosystem. It is just such a much more comfortable way to travel, but not just comfortable, but more productive. And I think it gets all of that streamlined experience because these boutique hotels do recognize the personalized needs of each of their people staying with them. If it's for leisure, there's going to be a different vibe than if they're there for travel. So, yeah, thank you. Thank
Well,
you back for proving my point.
I, yeah, I'm not buying it because I know that the big hotel chains, part of their operation, what they want to do is while giving you that consistent experience, they do want a unique experience. At some point in your traveling career, you're going to wake up in a hotel and you can't quite remember what city you're in. And that's a real thing. So they want you to wake up and actually see, okay, I'm in New Orleans today. and understand that, not just some sort of generic room.
And that's for the hardcore road warrior too. But I mean, for people, really wanting to optimize and maximize their business travels, and they want to actually have like a little bit of a local, unique experience, and having a little local flavor with a boutique hotel gives you that meaning and purpose. And I'm just not, business, 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 but I actually got to experience something while I was on my travels.
And that's great if you're traveling once, twice a year. I'm happy for you. Go stay at your little boutique hotel and have fun and do whatever. But if you're on the road for weeks, if not months, out of the year at the time, you just want simple and consistent.
Yeah, I think boutique hotels still like provide a little bit more of that warmth and that simplicity. And yeah, just an overall great experience, in my opinion.
I don't care if the hotelier knows my name, as long as I'm comfortable and I can get my work done.
Are you telling me when you give your little loyalty card, then they say, "Hi, Mark," you don't get a little charge out of that?
No.
Mr. Peters, your room is upgraded.
Now that's different, because my room's getting upgraded because I've got gold status. And how did I get gold status? By staying enough nights in that chain.
Yeah, and then if you're that chain and you could have that boutique experience, you're saying you wouldn't go for that?
Only if it was as close as possible to where I've got to do my business.
Which often is the case.
Is it though? Is it, Pamela?
Yeah, much more flexibility. I think there's a little bit of a crossover that we weren't necessarily thinking about when we were starting to talk about this.
I agree with you there. There certainly are benefits to both. That is for sure.
All right. How about like we launch into closing arguments? What's your final thoughts on the hotel chains, Mark?
My final thoughts are the hotel chains are certainly the way to go because you can earn those loyalty points so that when you do want to take your family somewhere, you can do it at a reduced cost and maybe then stay at one of their boutique brands for free because you have all those great loyalty points. It's convenient, it's easy, and most importantly, it's consistent. Pamela, your closing argument?
Sounds so transactional. All right. So I believe business travel should be about efficiency, productivity, and comfort, not just racking up the loyalty points. And boutique hotels and short term rentals, they give professionals the flexibility and the amenities they need to work smarter, travel better, and I mean, heaven forbid, have a meaningful, purposeful trip. If you only want to stay in hotel chains, you might be limiting your options, whereas boutique hotels and short term rentals unlock better business travel experiences in more locations.
Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that. What's next?
Now, my favorite part of the episode is always hearing the tip of the day. Mark, do you have a good one for us today?
I think I do have a good one, and this is for business travelers and non business travelers. It's how do you give gifts to a business traveler? Often
Mm.
people go places, their hosts want to give them gifts. It's quite lovely, but you've always got to remember that these people have a limited amount of real estate when they come to visit you.
Mm.
So giving a big and bulky gift just isn't an option. So if you're giving a gift to a traveler, it's got to be something that's small and compact and something that could be very easily carried. I remember one time I was in Bangladesh and met the most wonderful hosts. They were so warm and inviting and great. And at the end of my stay there, they wanted to give me a little parting gift, and they gave me this giant glass framed
Mm.
dried butterflies. I'm
Oh.
like, oh my goodness, I I don't even know if I can legally take this home with me, but it'll be smashed into a million pieces on in my suitcase. So sadly, I had to end up I gave it to somebody locally there who I'm hopefully is still enjoying it, but not something I
Yeah.
was able to carry home with me. And I feel terrible about it because they put so much thought and effort into it. But I had about six more
Oh,
stops on my visit and absolutely no room to put this thing. So
aw.
as grateful as I was for getting a nice gift, it wasn't something that was practical for me to carry home.
It's such a lovely gesture, but oh dear, that's a hard one.
Yeah, for sure.
I know in tourism it's a big thing to leave parting gifts and whatnot. And I one of my favorite ones was getting air tags. And I remember exactly who gave them to me, but nice, very practical, very useful. I use them all the time and very easy. Very easy to bring home.
That is a superb gift because it's relevant to someone who's traveling. You can probably
Mhm.
brand them with your own company logo.
Mhm.
And I'm
Yes,
sure every time you use those, you have a fond memory of the person who gave those to you.
completely agreed. But yes, all travel gifts.
Hmm. All right, Pamela, where can the good folks at home find us?
All right, you can please visit us on our Meetings and Miles LinkedIn page, or you can check out our personal accounts, Pamela Wilton and Mark Peters, Mark D. Peters 17.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Safe travels.
Bye.